In 2010, a man named Forrest Fenn hid $2 million worth of artifacts, jewels, and gold chunks after he was diagnosed of terminal kidney cancer. He was told that he had 3 years to live. He managed to beat cancer, but the treasure was still hidden. He wrote a memoir featuring a poem which holds clues of the treasure's location. The tale spread like wildfire, launching several online communities dedicated to solving this poem. Multiple people set out to find the treasure. Not all came back. To date, 4 people have died looking for the gold. It came to the point where the police chief of Mexico asked Fenn to call off the hunt, even went as far as the FBI raiding his home. The treasure has been found on June 2020 by a man named Jack Sturf. He has been searching since 2017 to tell a story of Fenn's hunt in his upcoming book, Chasing the Thrill. He quotes, "I've at least thought about it a couple hours a day, every day, since I have learned about it." Google's offline game has been about since 2014. Chrome designer Sebastian Gabriel says it's a play on the prehistoric age. He also went on talking about the game design, describing the first iteration of the game as a world of just cacti and sand. The visual style of the game was a nod at pixel art. Gabriel also mentioned the codename for the game was Project Bolan, which was a reference of Mark Bolan, the late lead singer of the 1970s band T-Rex. The game has 17 years of game time from the 6 years it has been available. It is possible to play the game even with internet. In Google search bar, type in Chrome // Dino. The dark web is infamous for its association with anything illegal. The word deep web also gets mentioned too, but what does it mean? Well, the deep web is the area of the internet where pages do not get indexed, which means most search engines will not return it even when you search it. This means to access these sites, you must enter the exact address or to click another link which directs you to the deep web page. It is not illegal to visit either the deep or dark web, however, interacting with the content is very much illegal. Visiting these areas of the internet is also not very secure. If you don't have the correct ways to protect your information, then your address, Wi-Fi, identity, or password could be stolen from you. The deep web isn't as illegal as you would think. It's purely there to keep the user private and anonymous. It contains anything behind a paywall or requires authentication. It may also contain any content that the owner decides to block. Web crawlers from indexing, medical reports, fee-based content, membership websites, and confidential corporate web pages are just a few examples. The layer below, we know as the dark web, isn't as illegal as the one before. The principle of keeping private and remaining anonymous is still there, but this area is riddled with hackers who can easily take any or all information about you. Its content consists of a wide range of legal to illegal services or resources. To name some, a marketplace for drugs, marketplace for many firearms, a few rare books for all the scholars watching, and a marketplace of hitmen, although most assassination services are a scam. After just talking about how the dark web is crawling with hackers, it still doesn't mean the normal web we know is safe. So how do hackers get your password even when you believe it is secure? Password security is the process that protects information accessible via computers. Password protection only allows the authorized user to gain access to certain information. The password before getting sent to the database gets encrypted to look like a long string of gibberish. This is called hashing. When we request a password, for example through a login form, the password gets decrypted using a decryption key which only the server and you have. If, for say, an unauthorized user gets to this key, then they can easily breach your account directly. We use another method called salting, which doubles up the password before getting hashed. However, with this method it is possible to crack the password, but it requires more processing time and power. Most humans follow similar patterns when creating a password. In 2020, NordPass recorded that the most common passwords were 123456, with the runner-ups being 12345678 and picture 1. This is a flaw with how we store data. If a hacker sees your hash password the same as another person's hash, then that suggests the password is common. With this information, they can use trial and error to figure out what your password is by using a computer to iterate all possible common options. Once the hacker has your password, they can match the hash character to the raw character. For instance, 1 is hashed as ampersand. Now a dictionary can be formed, and so essentially the hacker can access any accounts unless it includes special characters which people use less common in their uh, passwords. Another way a hacker can get into your account is using brute force. This is by using a powerful computer to try every combination possible of raw passwords to see if they match up with a hash password. The time it takes to brute force fully is dependent on the power of the GPU. Let's assume we have a password that is 6 characters long, and on average users only use the alphabet and numbers for their password. There are 26 letters and 10 numbers, so in total 36 characters. So if we index 36 by 6, we get the total possible numbers of passwords of 2,176,702,336. A big number, but with modern hardware is possible to crack. Increasing the numbers of characters in the password makes it longer for the GPU to calculate. We can also introduce special characters in our password, such as percentage, question mark, and an exclamation mark. Doing this makes the total characters available from 36 to 51. So if we do the index of 51 of 6, and we get whatever the hell this is. So how do you protect your account and your privacy? Well, simply don't repeat passwords, use more than just the alphabets and numbers, and use a longer password. However, you may be a lazy individual and don't want to memorize all your passwords across every website you use. Then using something like two-step authentication is the best thing to set up for that extra layer of security. Zoom is an online meeting platform which its growth has been accelerating during lockdown. It was founded and launched in 2013 to 2013 in San Jose, California by a man named Eric Yuan. Its surge arose in the last 2 years, with the platform having 10 million meeting participants to 300 million from 2019 to mid-2020. In the same time frame, its revenue almost doubled by $330 million to $620 million. It is currently valued at $40 billion. This growth for some is seen as wild, as there were always arguably better softwares, to name some: Skype, Discord, and Google Meet. This is to show that successful business is with patience of waiting for the perfect time. Created in 2008, Bitcoin introduced a new form of currency. It was invented by an unknown person or group. The creator goes by the pseudonym of Satoshi Nakamoto. His last communication was in April 2011, quoting, I've moved on to other things. It's in good hands with Gavin and everyone. There has been 3 people suspected to be the founder. Newsweek in March 2014 identified Dorian Nakamoto as the currency's owner, although he has aggressively denied it. This was the first time mainstream publication had attempted to learn the identity of the creator. The biggest correlation we have with Dorian Nakamoto is his surname and training as an engineer. The other suspect is Craig Wright, an Australian scientist. For the most part, individuals suspected to be Satoshi Nakamoto have denied the claim or remained silent. That has not been the case for Wright. One of the biggest evidence we have is that the timestamps of Nakamoto's blog coincide with Wright's blog. However, the PGP keys proving that he was the founder was backdated, some alleged. In December 2015, Wired magazine wrote a profile on Wright. They followed up the report to note several inconsistencies in Wright's story. Even Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin came out and called him a fraud. Since 2006, a woman going by the name Chip Chan has been live streaming her life 24/7. Attention initially rose due to people thinking she was dead. However, it soon turned out she was sleeping in a strange position for abnormally long periods of time. She claimed to be held hostage by a police officer known as P. Several signs around her apartment show this. She believes the officer has implanted a mind-controlling implant in her ankle which makes her unconscious at will, thus preventing her from leaving her apartment. Although of all these bizarre claims, there has been images of her out in the streets. She has also changed residence multiple of times. We still don't know her real name, and the local authorities say that she is mentally ill. The leading diagnosis is that she is a paranoid schizophrenic who also suffers from narcolepsy, though she does not display the common traits of either issues. On January 2012, a post was made on 4chan stand 3301 which claimed to be looking for highly intelligent individuals. A series of puzzles would follow over the months and years posted by the entity called Cicada 3301. Most puzzles include steganography, the art of hiding messages with other messages. Intentionally misleading and extremely hard puzzles truly filter the intelligent few and the few that are dedicated to solve a mystery that could easily be a troll. Some people say they have solved all the puzzles, even though some of these alleged winners are renowned cryptography experts. Not even they are certain of who's behind Cicada's 3301. The CIA have sworn it was not them. However, the biggest piece of evidence is from an anonymous poster showing up on the hidden website claiming the Cicada 3301 is a cult that worships information.